Today, I'm going to convince you to temporarily delete Instagram off of your phone if you are currently struggling with deep insecurities. You are just displeased with the woman that you are. You are uncomfortable in your own skin. You're constantly wanting to tear your face apart, your body apart. It's difficult for you to look in the mirror. It's difficult for you to get dressed. You're constantly comparing yourself to others. You just don't feel good. You desire a life of confidence, of abundance, of just loving yourself and accepting yourself, but you can't seem to get yourself there. I know this experience so well. I'm very, very familiar with each and every one of these emotions. I personally hit rock bottom in November of 2023. I was so severely depressed. I had so much anxiety, nightmares, PTSD. I hated doing my makeup. Looking at the mirror was a constant struggle for me. I would take my makeup off, do it again. It was so difficult for me to get dressed for events. I would cry every time. It was horrible. I was suffering and it was rock bottom. And almost 1.5 years later, I'm here to teach you how to fall in love with yourself, teach you how I've become the woman I am today that has radical self-acceptance, that looks in the mirror and wants to cry because she has so much, does cry because she has so much love for herself. I kiss my hands, I kiss my body, and I just genuinely love the person I am so much today, my potential, my future, and the polarity of how I felt when I was insecure, how small and weak and untrusting I was in myself, and the struggle that I went through every single day, and the way that I feel today is the passion behind me sitting here and teaching a self-love course. And I attribute so much of my growth, so much of why I was able to transform at such a rapid pace was getting off of Instagram. The first step of the self-love course, this is step number 1. The first step for me was deleting Instagram off of my phone. And the way you travel through timelines, the way you leap through versions of yourself when you leave that world behind, when you kind of disassociate. I went into a hibernation. I got offline. I stopped associating a lot. All my energy, all my focus was on myself, trying to make myself feel better. When I say it was rock bottom, it couldn't have gotten worse than that. And I really needed to figure out what was going on. And it was the deep, unaccepting mentality that I have of myself, the insecurities that I had, I was not 0% confident. I was constantly just tearing myself apart. I did not know what direction my life was going in. I didn't even know myself. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what I didn't like. I was so indecisive. I can go on for hours about my experience, but I'm going to tell you why Instagram and the negative side effects that Instagram has to wanting to develop yourself, wanting to be this beautiful butterfly, lioness, confident woman will help you so much if you get offline. Okay, let's jump right into it. For purposes of this course and in general, I'm going to explain the subconscious mind. I'm going to explain where your insecurities are coming from. Why does the human feel insecure? Everything that we experience in life, childhood traumas, your boyfriend cheated on you in high school with a girl that doesn't look like you. You're comparing yourself to an Instagram model online and you don't look like her and you're making yourself feel bad about it. All of these independent, small experiences that women experience throughout our life get stored in our subconscious mind. Okay. There's the subconscious mind and there's the conscious mind. I'm going to explain this really quick because it's really important for the human to understand why we feel so horrible. Why do I desire a beautiful life? Why do I want to love myself? I want to feel confident. I try to feel confident, but that little voice inside keeps chattering and it keeps pulling me back and it keeps checking me and telling me that I'm unworthy, that I'm unlovable. Why is this happening to me? Okay? The conscious mind. We have the subconscious mind and we have the conscious mind, okay? The conscious mind is your everyday decision making. It's the small decisions that you make, 5 to 10% of your mind. 5 to 10%. Okay, that's this very small chunk. It's the desires. It's the, I want to feel confident. I want the man that treats me right. I want the vacations. I want the travel. I want this beautiful life for myself. I desire, the human desires all these experiences, right? The unconscious mind, the subconscious, what's going on down here, that's where we're storing all of this negativity. That's where we're storing the traumas, the insecurities, the childhood traumas, the boy that cheated on me, the comparing, the society today that's gotten women to this point of just feeling so small and insignificant and horrible about ourselves. All of these small experiences are stored in our subconscious. That's where the I am unworthy comes from. That's where the I am unlovable comes from. This narrative that we stick to, okay? It's in the unconscious. To become a confident person, to fall in love with yourself, to exist in this queen energy, in this queen-like aura, right? That all of us, of course, aspire to be. We need to rewrite the unconscious mind. We need to disassociate from that narrative that we've collected along the way, 30, 40, 25 years, 50 years, everyone's age, you've been collecting this identity for so long. We need to rewrite the code. We need to rewrite that script. Human beings are just like a computer. Your brain doesn't know the difference between negative and positive, just like a computer doesn't know the difference between if it's shooting you a positive experience, if it's shooting you a virus. It doesn't know. It's just a hard drive that's shooting you this code, right? The unconscious mind is our code. It's this computer's code. If you learn to rewrite the script, which is my entire course, is rewriting your unconscious mind. And the other passion behind this is how easy and fun it's been for me to do it. And I feel like they're throwing out this narrative that change is hard, that people don't change, and we're stuck the way we are. And to a degree, your mind, the reason that people say that is because your mind likes familiarity. So if we can trick the mind, if we can disassociate from any familiarities of our past and only look to this future queen version of us that we want to create, which I will create with you in part 7 of this course, I'm a completely different human being than I was 1 year and 4 months ago, I am changing at a rapid pace. Day by day, I kid you not, week by week, my fiance Nick will be like, he's in awe. My mom is in awe. Everyone around me is just in awe at how I am transforming so fast. I've literally just become a master at rewiring the brain. I know exactly how to do it, and it's so easy and so fun, like I said. So let's get into Instagram today. All the rewiring and all of the fun activities are going to be in the rest of the course. I need to explain why getting off Instagram is so unbelievably powerful and why I've made this literally step number 1 of this course. Okay. So I just explained the unconscious mind, right? We are trying to reinvent ourselves. When you go from being an insecure, small, weak, fragile woman who hates herself, who's picking on herself, who's all these experiences that we have, right? And I want to get over here. I'm making a complete 180. I am completely reinventing myself. I personally, Brenda, there's nothing about that version of me that I am a completely different person in the matter of less than 2 years. You're making a complete 180. You're going from here to here. And if you want that radical transformation at the speed of light and you want to, fly through these timelines, we need to disassociate from the past. We need to disassociate from anything that reminds us of the current version of ourselves, anything that reminds us of the present version of the insecure woman, right? Instagram is at an unconscious level. You're not consciously thinking about it, okay? Your mind, it has a mind of its own. It's doing its thing. It's functioning the way that the mind works. The mind likes familiarity. The mind doesn't want to do a lot of work. The mind doesn't want to create a new identity for itself. That's why people say people don't change, because the mind sticks to this narrative. So if Brenda is this insecure person, if Brenda hates her face, hates her body, is insecure about her legs, the mind is constantly looking for evidence to prove that insecurity, that narrative. Again, it doesn't know the difference between positive and negative. It's just doing its thing. If I'm functioning as an insecure person for this long, I'm going to keep going that way. When you go on Instagram and you look at your own profile, for example, how many times a day are we looking at our profile? How many times a week even? I feel like I was looking at mine every day. Maybe people are looking at theirs once a week. Even looking at your page once a week, you're going on running, you're seeing all your little posts. That's the version I was 1 year ago, 6 months ago. Oh, that's the version I was at that wedding that I didn't feel so comfortable in that dress. That's the version I was at that bar that I met that guy and that boy cheated on. All of these unconscious associations with these identities, the mind knows. You're not thinking about it, but your mind knows what it's doing, and it's reinforcing those neural pathways in your brain. It's reinforcing that identity of you. This is me. Instagram is a digital resume. Instagram is literally a digital resume for the human. All of my experiences are there. Every type of person I was with there. Me in high school, me in college. Even if you've cleaned up your Instagram, it's still your identity that you've created online, right? Again, I disassociated so much from that identity, and that's the reason that I've been able to jump through timelines the way that I have. Even when you look at people that you know on Instagram, you know, I met this person in college. I met this person at a bar 6 months ago. I met this person, the version that I was 8 months ago, met that person. Every time you see their story, every time you see these people, even the way that they see you in your mind is getting reinforced in your mind. The brain, it's doing that in the unconscious mind. Again, you're not conscious of it, but it's doing it on its own. It's reinforcing those pathways of familiarity of that identity in your mind. For purposes of the self-love course, we cannot be associating at all. We cannot be enforcing this identity, enforcing any of those connections that we know, those people that are familiar to us. We need to go into a bubble, which in part 2, I'm going to talk about why the hibernation is so important. You're literally going into a hibernation. We're going into a bubble. We're getting offline. We're disassociating from that entire world entirely. And that's the power. We're going into this bubble and we're creating the queen version of us. We're existing as her. We're feeling her. And that repetition and that emotional state over and over again, it will catapult you into that timeline at the speed of light. Within 3 months of my self-love journey, I was a completely different person than I was at the beginning. And I will say throughout this course, you need to give yourself minimum 1 year. The magic of getting off Instagram doesn't hit you. For me, it hit me at 6 to 7 months where I was like, wow, like this is real life. This is my reality. This feels so calm. And it almost gives you that clarity, and that Instagram is draining. Instagram is, you're constantly in this state of awareness. You're constantly stimulated. You're knowing what everyone is doing. We need our mind, our energy, everything to ourselves in this self-love course. We're a queen. We're this confident butterfly, right? Confident women, these women that are existing as queen-like energies, all their focus is on themselves. Every inch, every ounce of their mind, of their energy is constantly focusing on themselves. How do I make my life better? How do I get prettier? How do I get more rich? How do I make more money? You know, how do I make my body look better? How do I feel healthier? Enhance my life, longevity? Like, they are constantly looking for ways to make their own life better, and by association, make their family's life better. Their partners, their kids, their future kids that they're going to have. They are so focused on themselves. They are not worrying about what everyone else is doing. They are not worried about everything that is online. Okay? So we need to get off. To reinvent ourselves as quick as possible, we need that disassociation. Secondly, Instagram is all programming. A confident queen, like I said, a woman who is just beaming with queen energy, she knows herself. She's familiar with herself. She knows what her interests are. She knows what her style is. She knows herself so well. And I feel like Instagram is the exact opposite. People on Instagram, people that don't have that inner knowing of themselves, people that struggle with these insecurities, when you go on Instagram, you're fed constantly. You're fed what you're supposed to like, what you're supposed to decorate your house as, what trips you're supposed to go on. You know, I'm supposed to be in Europe this summer because everyone else is. All of this stuff is programming. It's making you feel like you need to exist in a certain way. I recently was having a conversation with a friend of mine who was being extremely vulnerable with me, and she was planning her wedding and we were talking about weddings. I'm engaged. I'm not planning my wedding at all. We've been engaged for 2 years now and we're just living life. And she was saying, I respect you so much because you just do whatever you want to do. And she was saying that she was struggling a lot when it came to wedding planning because she didn't want to stray away from what everyone else was doing. She didn't want to, make her own decisions. She picked the same hair, makeup, style, flowers. She just pulled from everyone else. And she was, venting to me saying, I wish I did things differently. And I wish I kind of just did what I wanted to do instead of what people were doing. And I feel like this is so many people's struggle. It's so easy to fall into that safety net, right? It's so easy to fall into, I'm just going to do what everyone else is doing. I'm going to wear what the influencer wore. I'm going to decorate my house. Like everything is very copy paste of one another. And Instagram, the way that it feeds you what it wants, it almost makes you feel like you need to be and existing in a certain way. And if you're not following that, you're not doing it right. When you get offline, when I got offline, I even struggled so much with how to dress myself, all the things. I was so deeply insecure. I had no sense of direction at all. Wow. I bought things because I wanted them. I liked them. I wore things. I figured out what looked, you have this knowing, you have this understanding, you almost meet yourself again and you're like, hi, I'm Brenda. Like, this is what I want to do. And this is how I want to be. And this is how I want to present. And I'm not doing this because this person, it's all programming at an unconscious level. You're not consciously aware that you're doing the things that you're doing this way. You know what I mean? We're just all in this robotic state. I feel like humanity is just so robotic now and so glued to this idea and glued to, there is really no sense of uniqueness. There's no creativity for self. There's no individuality. It's all fed to you and you are robotically functioning through life that way. So again, getting offline, it takes about 6 to 7 months to really feel the magic of what I'm talking about, but it's so liberating. You become present in your reality in a way that I cannot even explain. The presence aspect. Okay. Before I started my hibernation, my fiance's husband, I call him my husband because he's basically my husband, but we're not married yet. We've been together for 7 years, but his grandpa loved Seinfeld. So I started Seinfeld a little before my hibernation, fell in love with it, and that basically became the show that I exclusively watched during my hibernation. And Seinfeld was one of the moments where I was watching the show. Jerry, Elaine, George, Kramer's my favorite, going about, they're so present in their reality. They're so present with one another. There's no phones. There's nothing there. It's just human conversation, going about their day. Jerry gets home. He picks up the phone, messages. Do you need me? Do you not need me? Okay, I'm going to move on with my life now and get back to real life. And that for me, I was like, we do not have that anymore. We do not have that level of presence whatsoever. You go to dinner, everyone's on their phones. You go to the gym, everywhere you go, everyone is not there. They are half there, half, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And I was so inspired by that. I was like, I need to get offline. And it just was one of the moments for me. The presence that you feel in your reality when you get offline is uncomparable. The liberation, I'm like stumbling on my word, the breath of fresh air, the feet planted in your reality, and you're like, this is real life. This is my life, is unbelievable. Next, Instagram keeps you in this constant state of awareness, in this constant state of perception, right? How many people do you follow? 500, 1,000, 2,000 people? To be in the constant state of awareness of what all those people are doing with their lives. This girl had a baby. This girl, just got married, got engaged. It's this tally of all of these other people's experiences that you don't really actually know that they're not really people in your life, right? They're not close friends of yours, do you go to dinner with them even once a year? No, you DM these people and it makes you feel like you have real connections with people that you don't. And I feel like for the insecure person, for the person who doesn't have a strong identity, that's suffocating. Whenever you want to make a decision, business decision, you want to just live your life, you know, you feel like all these eyes are on you. You feel like there's so many more people in your life than there actually are. And I experienced that firsthand. Instagram, you collect people throughout your life. Literally, you collect friends of friends that you're not actually friends with, that you know. And then it makes you feel like there's so many more people around you than there are. When I got offline, I was like, I have a handful, if anything, of real people in my everyday life, and that's it. And this really was super loud for me when my first birthday ever that I spent offline was November of 2023. I went offline, and then February right after was my birthday. And I was like, I'm not going to go back online, Brenda. That's crazy. You know, we just started and we feel so good. And I did think about it. I'm going to say that. I did think about, what is this going to be like? You know, what is my birthday going to be like this year? But I stuck to it. It was so authentic. Not a lot of people called and texted me, but if you knew my birthday and you were a real person in my life, you were a real human in Brenda's life, you knew my birthday, you called me and you texted me, and it just felt so real. And I feel like we struggle with this fake shit, honestly. It's so fake, and it's so like, I'm gonna post on my story so I get a million unauthentic DMs from people that really don't care about me, that really are not in my life. And it's just, it was really liberating. It was really amazing for me. So I highly recommend. And I also feel like when you're trying to fall in love with yourself, when you're trying to be a confident person, when you're trying to, you know, exist as this like strong, I know who I am woman, and you don't exist that way, you're insecure, you're trying to portray yourself as another type of person online, you're almost getting lost in all this world that you're trying to make for yourself. You're trying to be perceived a certain way. You don't actually feel that way. We all know how fake Instagram is. You know, I was just talking to my friend who's 30 years old, and she was saying, we know how fake Instagram is. We've been around, we've seen it. But she was saying, it still bothers me. It still bothers me. I know that it's fake, and I know that it's the best of people's life, but it still bothers me. And until you can strengthen yourself, like today, I am a bulletproof version of myself. Nothing can bother me. Nothing can get to me. Anything that I see online, I'm not, you know, making myself feel bad because someone's doing something or someone is, you know, existing some way, or a girl's body. Nothing is going to get to me because I'm now a bulletproof version of myself. And this is what I've aspired to be my whole life. I've just wanted to feel like a rock solid Brenda. You know what I mean? And I went to Europe last summer, and it was June in my hibernation, and I was feeling so good already. But so then I ended up downloading Instagram just for my trip. And usually I get off Instagram when I go on vacation. But this year I was like, I'm feeling like a sexy little bunny. I'm just going to get it, you know, whatever. Immediately I was not feeling the things, and I was like, I wasn't ready. You know what I mean? I wasn't ready to get back that way, and I was so overstimulated. I had taken such a breath of fresh air offline. It was so overstimulating for me again. So anyways, I ended up getting off of it again, and I don't feel that way anymore. I'm still off, and I don't know if I have ever plans to get back on. I'm sure I will, but the freedom that you feel, the freedom that you feel is an addicting feeling. Comparison is honestly the thief of joy, and I feel like when you're insecure, you don't have that strength to really understand that not only is Instagram the best of people's lives, but everyone's highs and lows are different, right? My high is going to be at a time when you're feeling low. Your high is going to be at a time when I'm feeling low. You cannot run away from the highs and lows in your life. Everyone goes through highs and lows, no matter what you see online. They're not posting their lows online, right? until you have the strength to, when I'm in a low period, it doesn't matter how I feel. I'm always going to be happy for you. I'm always going to be rooting you on. I'm not going to have that jealousy or envy. I'm not going to have that comparison, because I know in my own world that I need to be feeling this low. I'm so happy in my own life. I'm so okay with the low. I lean into the lows. I know that they're here for a reason. I know that they're here to teach me. I know that if I lean into them, I'm going to be such a stronger woman when I come out of it. When you don't have this type of mentality, the lows are very hard, because you're comparing yourself. You're saying, why is my life this way? And why is she doing so well? Why did she get engaged and I don't have a man? Why does she have a baby and I want to have? It's constant comparison. And until you're strong enough to be so content in your own life, you don't want to be anyone else, you're okay with the lows and you're happy with the lows because you know a high is coming out after. It's so beneficial to get offline and establish that strength in yourself, to live the rest of your life in that mentality, to live the rest of your life happy for the people around you, not the jealous type, not the envious type and low-key hating on people because you're unhappy in your own life. And honestly, brings me to my next point, is Instagram is constantly also feeding us such negative news, and it's a lot of negativity, and I feel like ignorance is bliss in life. Brenda knowing about all the bad things that are going on in the world are not going to do anything for the bad things that are going on. They're not going to change them. There's always going to be good and evil. There's always going to be something horrible going on. And in Seinfeld days, there were bad things going on, and they didn't suffocate with themselves with this news. They didn't suffocate themselves with, they didn't have the information that we have today. They didn't go online and see a baby being blown up and their whole day is ruined and now I'm crying and my vibration is low. And why are we doing that to ourselves? And I feel like when you're on this self-love journey, when you are on the self-love journey, our goal is to keep a high elevated state. Our goal is to keep our vibration so high in this state of abundance, in the state of bliss, gratitude. That's how you catapult yourself through timelines. I have been so ignorant to everything going on in the world. I've chosen myself, my peace, my everything over anything else. If Nick is next to me and he's looking at something negative, he knows to scroll right up, because I'm like, I have a Cancer moon. I cannot physically consume, my emotional state cannot consume that kind of content. I can't, and I need to prioritize myself right now for my future, for my family. And I feel like it almost soothes people's egos to say, I'm such a good person because I'm involved. I'm such a good person because I'm posting all the time. And they like to point fingers and I say, you're such a bad person. You never post. You're this, you're that. And it's like such an ego trip to me that I'm like, I'm such a good person because I'm healing myself. I'm healing my generational traumas. I'm going to be an emotionally intelligent, mother for my kids. And my household is going to be this high vibrational household, while these types of women are so suffocating themselves with negative propaganda news, with all of this negativity. There's a black cloud over your household. You're dragging your feet when you walk. You're so sad. Your husband's feeling it. Your kids are feeling it. And I just feel like, what is that doing for anyone? Is that going to change all the things that are going on? Is that going to magically make everything better? No, you can do the most by donating. And that's about it. There's really nothing else for me to do personally when I'm need to be focusing on myself. So ignorance is bliss. Focus on yourself, a queen, a woman who is, elevated in this high vibrational state. You have to prioritize your peace over everything else and be selfish, honestly. Lastly, you need to be the main character of your life, to exist as this queen being, to be this beautiful lioness, woman that attracts everything she wants. Men are kissing the ground that she walks on. Like I said, she has such a knowing of herself. She's not running away from her thoughts. She's not running away from, she's not scared of herself. She's not scared to sit at home in the quiet, not being stimulated, not having something to do every hour of the day. The lonely is the point of this journey. The power in being okay, being alone is what got me here. The loneliness that I have felt and that I currently feel today, that is where you get to know yourself. No one can walk you through this journey. No one can hold your hand and say, let's go, Brenda, let's go fall in love with ourselves. Let's go rewire our brain together. No, it's impossible. No partner, no mother, no friend, no one can take you through this journey other than you by yourself. And no perfect partner can make you feel better. I feel like there are so many women in the world that are like, all my problems are going to be solved if I have a partner. All my problems are going to be solved if I get a baby or get married or all this external stuff. I'm telling you right now, I have the most perfect partner. He's literally the most golden retriever human ever, who I've been on the nicest vacations. I've done all the things. And I was so insecure. I was self-sabotaging. I ruined every trip. I started fights over nothing. Your reality is so skewed. You're so miserable yourself that you find things wrong in your reality and you create chaos that doesn't need to be there. That is the truth of it. Nothing is going to fix insecurity, unhappiness, hating on yourself. Doesn't discriminate against the pretty. It doesn't discriminate against the rich. If you have money, it doesn't all of a sudden solve your problems. If you have a man that treats you like fucking royalty, it's not going to solve your problems. It's really not. I'm telling you that right now. So the first step to anything, manifesting, creating a better life for yourself, being just happy in life, living a peaceful life as a woman, is falling in love with yourself, is starting that healing process of just accepting who you are, accepting the woman that you are, not wanting to tear your face apart at every chance you get, not wanting to go on a million different diets and feeling like all this external stuff is going to make me feel better. It starts from within. It's your insecurities create a skewed reality. Your insecurities create chaos in your life. You need to look at yourself first. It's been my hobby to study women my whole entire life. I grew up with a mother that was insanely beautiful, and I've observed women, how they age, what insecurity does to you, what a pretty woman does to an insecure woman, all the different dynamics, how confident women move in their 50s and 60s versus the insecure woman. And you only get more and more and more and more, and so toxic and so disgusting, the toxicity that comes out of these types of women as you age and as you physically age, as menopause starts to kick in, all of these things that women go through. It's not a pretty sight. It's not an experience that you want. We want to live these 2 seconds that we have here on earth in a blissful manner. We want to live in the most peaceful. Why do we need to live any other way? Why do we need to get to 80 years old and then look back and be like, oh my God, my body was actually fine. My face was fine. And why did I treat myself that way? Why did I feel that way? Why did I not wear a bikini? Why did I not wear shorts when I looked like that? So many women come out and say that they have these experiences. So many women are struggling with this every single day. And I know exactly what it feels like. I wouldn't wear shorts ever. Every time I would get dressed, my mom was like, why don't you wear a skirt? You look so good, Brenda. My reality was so skewed. I wore pants, long dresses everywhere I went. I just started wearing shorts after I fell in love with myself on this self-love journey. And now I look back at photos of myself when I was anorexic during that time, and I'm like, what was I seeing? Your eyes, your vision, everything is so skewed, and it's from the unconscious mind. It's from this narrative that we're sticking to of these if you lived on an island in the middle of nowhere and there was no social media, there was nothing, other women, comments, bullies, boys, anything. And you just lived amongst a society that told you you were so beautiful every single day and you felt beautiful every day and you looked exactly how you look today. You wouldn't feel the way you do. You would not feel the way you do. You would not move the way you do. You wouldn't be in this horrible state. It's conditioning. It's conditioning from the ways that society is going today. It's not generational. It's the world, earth, how we are humans today. And we need to break free from it. We need to step into our feminine, of this place of just acceptance. The little girl inside of you doesn't know envy. She doesn't know jealousy. She just wants to dance in her room with her. Literally, she does not know judgment. She does not know judgment. She just wants to be free. She feels free. She doesn't have that level of self-hatred. And that's what this course is going to get you to. That's what this course is I promise you. I did not know a world. I struggle with everything under the moon: perfectionism, psycho OCD paralysis, every single thing of self-sabotage, of procrastination, of halting my life because I was just waiting for the perfect time, waiting for my body to look like this, waiting for that, change this, change that, get your hair longer, anything you can imagine. I promise you I've struggled with. And the way that I feel today, I look back at those versions of myself and I cry. I seriously break down crying every single time because I'm like, I just want to go back and give her a hug. And the way that I feel today is it's conditioning. It's rewriting your unconscious mind to believe that you're worthy of love, believe that you're worthy of this experience, that we're gonna die in 2 seconds. We're literally gonna die in 2 seconds. It's April, it's summer, and tomorrow's Christmas. Literally, life goes by like that. It's 2 seconds that it's such a short, fast life that we go through that it's so imperative for you to focus and for you to prioritize yourself and for you to put yourself, your well-being before. Don't bring insecure women into this world. Don't, make your husband miserable because you're so insecure. You're, hating on your younger women at the gym because you're enjoy every period of your life. When I get to that age, I aspire to love, compliment, spread love. Everyone is going to age. Everyone is going to die. No one's running away from that. No one is superior in that way. Why can't we just enjoy it and have this blissful process to that point? You know what I mean? So I hope I've convinced you to get offline. It was the most transformative thing in the entire world for me. I cannot recommend it enough. And it really has been, it's number one for a reason. And in the next step, I'm going to talk about going into a hibernation, disconnecting from friends a little bit, toxic people in your life. Stop sleeping around with men that, you're not going to be doing that during this journey. You're going into a celibacy, and unless you have a partner. And I'm so excited. And please let me know if you have any questions or concerns or anything like that. I'm here to answer everything along the way. And I'm genuinely so excited. I know this feeling that I have today of just wanting to dance around and loving the version that I am today so much, loving pampering myself, loving doing my makeup, getting dressed, and just being the little girl queen bunny that I am. Everyone can experience this. Everyone can experience this. And I'm just so excited. I love you. I told you that I'm a crazy perfectionist, okay? And there was a story that I need to have in this part, and I will not rest if it's not in here. So, okay. Last summer, I was already in my hibernation, right? It's August of 2024, and 2 different groups of friends that I knew were going to the Kind Music concert in Greece. I love house music. I'm going to talk about music in part 5. It's going to be such a big part of this journey. Anyway, I'm like, that sounds so fun. Like, wow, I want to go. Obviously, I didn't end up going. They go, and I'm offline at that point. So Nick is showing me all of the content on his phone. Like, this is what they wore. This was the concert. Like, this is what it looked like, whatever. And I was like, wow, that looks so fun. Like, I saw Kind when they were in LA before they got really big, and it was unbelievable. Like, I was buzzing after that concert for weeks. And I was like, that looks so, that I don't struggle with FOMO. I'm not that type of person, to be completely honest, but I had crazy FOMO when it comes to concerts. I have FOMO. And whatever. They end up coming back, and we end up going to dinner a few weeks later. How was the concert? It looked amazing. Horrible. It was so bad. The sound was so bad. It was so overly crowded. The entire trip was bad. Greece in general in August, horrible. Don't go. Like, everything about the trip looked so fun, and in reality, it was not fun. And you know how many times I've talked to people about their summer vacations? One person's honeymoon, I was like, your honeymoon looked euphoric. We had the worst time. Don't go to this city. Don't go to that city. It wasn't fun. Like, everything on Instagram is fake. Not everything, obviously, but like, we make ourselves feel bad about these things when in reality, they didn't even have a good time. I needed this to be part of this part.